More D&D rules everyone ignores, brought to you by the Book of Spirits. Beyond the Screen are great partners of mine who've helped with some of my own homebrew in the past, and their first ever Kickstarter is a slam dunk. The Book of Spirits passionately loads your 5e games with an endless array of expressive rules to play with. There's more than 50 spiritual creatures to meet, many with ways to stifle and kindle their aggression through roleplay. Then unleash their power as your own with Resonance, dice gained through your connections with spirits that augment your powers. Although the Plane of Mist keeps the monsters at bay, you can unleash them with all new spirit-themed subclasses, or even take a dive into the mist yourself using their pre-made adventure. We're also rocking with some of the coolest new minis on the market, like the 7-inch tall Rage Titan, accompanied by his army of ghastly foes. Kickstarter's only gonna last another week, so grab it while you can. Link down below. Since part 1 of this series, all of you have been vocal with more D&D junk everyone's always tossing aside, so I figured it was about time to collect all your comments and draft up a part 2. Players and DMs usually prefer to stick to rules that have a regular impact in their games, which means other rules get forgotten about just by being obnoxious to find, understand, or keep up with. The fact that we had to wait 3 years for rules that explain how fast things fall in D&D, yeah, something that generic, and that it was printed in a separate expansion book almost 3 years later might be the best example of why people might tend to ignore or make up the existence of certain rules. So yeah, let's just go over a bunch more that you all suggested I bring up. Hope you will enjoy. Electrum pieces. Nobody cares about Electrum. They apparently look like this, but whenever I imagine them, I think of Mr. Krabs' giant crusty green dime. It's just sad that because Electrum exists in official 5e modules, they had to include a tab for it on the official character sheets. But I bet for most of you, this section has the least eraser shaving scratch marks out of any other. One Electrum is worth 5 silver, which ruins the coin order of everything and angers everyone. Every coin takes 10 pieces to make up the value of the next, except Electrum, which is worth 5 silver and takes 2 pieces to equal 1 gold. In the official rules, it states that shop owners usually give people trading an Electrum the side eye because of the money's origins, but I'd sooner just say they hate counting it. If Electrum wasn't some ungodly half-breed of a currency, then every denomination of wealth could have been 10 higher than the next. But nope, let's make a garbage currency that complicates everything that nobody's ever heard before because we have to be special. If 1 Electrum was just 10 silver, I doubt we'd have this problem, but here we are. Everyone ignores it, and the world is a better place because of that. Coins have weight. Most real-life tables hand-wave the weight of all your pocket change since it's obnoxious to keep track of. Ready to jot down the 0.32 ounces of weight that a single copper coin adds to your load? Me neither. The weight of coins is already stupid though, because a quick Google search will tell you that gold is almost twice as heavy as silver, making the fact they're all the same make no sense at all. Trading coins on the regular also makes keeping tabs on your money a nightmare, as you pull out a calculator after every purchase to recalibrate your carrying capacity. And the general house rule is that so long as you don't have an unreasonable amount of coins on you, there's no need to keep track of it. At most, DMs might pause the game to give a smug grin to their party, asking how they plan to haul an entire dragon's hoard of gold back to their base. But at least then, the weight of the money becomes a unique challenge as opposed to being an inconvenience. Encumbrance. Out of the fryer and into the oven. People don't just ignore coin weight, they usually also just ignore weight entirely. Examples of people ignoring this rule are XP to level 3 and his weird variant encumbrance rule. I don't even remember how it works anymore, but it's funny to make fun of. And then everyone else ignoring the endless rulebook flipping, tracking weights, and just eyeballing it. Not dwelling on this one, people ignore the rule and just go, if it feels reasonable to carry for a person of my size and strength, I can carry it. Ignoring encumbrance indirectly nerfs players that spec into strength, just like a bunch of other niche rules that tried to exist to make strength characters viable. But when did D&D ever care about those guys, am I right? Ammunition. Arrows, bolts, bullets if your DM is really nice. Nobody tracks these things because, just like most of the other rules so far, scratching at your character sheet every time you shoot one is annoying. Arrows also barely cost anything, and the first bundle you get will probably last you the entire campaign until you either realize the mistake you've been making, or upgrade to magical ones. The issue is just that they're cheap, plentiful, and feel like a chore to keep up with, a common theme with a lot of these rules. Dark vision. Nobody ignores dark vision. In fact, every other D&D player is gonna be the nerd emoji who bursts at their seat to mention they have it the moment a DM says the room is dark. Everyone's so gung-ho about the fact they can see in darkness though that they ignore all the other rules that apply to it. Dark vision turns pure darkness into dim light, letting you wander through dungeons while having a general idea of where things are around you. But do you know what everyone forgets about? The fact that dim light gives you disadvantage on perception checks. So sure, you can see 60 feet around you, but your vision's gonna be terrible and there's a much higher chance a gremlin can get the jump on you. This is where the good old reliable humans and Dragonborn come into play. They're rolling up with their lanterns to illuminate the entire dungeon, not only to help out with the perception rolls that nobody cared about, but also to make it so everyone can see color. Another rule that DMs forget when reading out the colors of things in pitch black rooms 90% of the time. TLDR, dark vision in darkness is disadvantage. Remember the triple D rule, and that's not an innuendo. Lifestyle expenses. The fact I can't just dive into why lifestyle expenses are ignored goes to show the lack of people who even cared to learn about the rule. Basically, you could tell a DM how many days you want to skip in-game, say how comfy you want to live it up, and get the number on how much gold it'll cost to skip through that amount of time. From the wretched levels of sneaking into barns and sleeping on diseased hay to snobbing it up for 10 gold a month in the aristocratic lounge, the only difference that's made up is how much each category costs and the types of stories a DM might want to narrate once your break is over. The lack of influence players have in things besides the cash they're willing to spend, and the fact that most DMs decide it's fun to screw with players by stealing their stuff half the time is what makes people try to sweep this one under the rug. That, with the fact that Xanathar's guide added fun little minigames in the form of downtime activities that people enjoy way more. So hand wave the living expenses and get right into narrating how the barbarian spent his entire month battling to the top of an underground pit fighting tournament. Subscribe if you're new, Blaine but never simple, and I'll see you all in the next video.